stories like that, and I see the journey that Araceli's gone in the last 10 years, it always reinforces for me why I'm doing what I'm doing here, which is really challenging you and calling you up to a high level. There is no better peer group on the planet that I know of that's going to serve you physically, financially, emotionally, spiritually than this one here, my friend. So again, if this is for you, if it feels called to you, go push the button and go talk to Scotty Humphrey, talk to me. I've got one other guy I want to share with you who happens to be here in the studio because he lives just around the corner, and I'm pretty sure he's going to come from somewhere. He's a very special guest. He's a platinum partner, and he's been around for a number of years, but he happens to be here in person. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to our studio the one and only Sean Callaghan. Let's get Sean. Give it up for Sean. Hey, buddy. All right. Okay. It's Sean. No, you must not have heard me. I said it's Sean. Yes. Thanks for being here, buddy. We always appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're straight ahead. Why don't you just tell them your story and I'll just jump in?
Thanks, Scott.
You're welcome, brother.
Fun, magic, light, heart, love, fear, rejection, distortion, sadness, darkness. Is it real? It's impossible. But maybe this time, what if it is real? And what if these are the people, the programs, and the answers that you've been looking for? It's 38 months ago, and I, like you, am sitting at Business Mastery, experiencing the Platt conversation. And in that moment, these are my feelings, my thoughts, and internal conflict. And on the other side of our greatest self, resolving that conflict, where our dreams are found, they are actualized, and they come alive. By the way, do you think people hide? Do you think people wear masks? I was wearing one. I walked in as an uncool dad, according to my teenage children, who was an attorney, recently divorced, and I was blind. And as I walked in, I was lying to myself because I said the reason I am here is to get through the pain and to accelerate my law firm. But I had a hidden dream that my fear told me I shouldn't be sharing with anybody else. Do you wear a mask? Are you hiding your hidden dreams from the world and maybe even from the people closest to you? So before I share the things that have happened, there literally is something at stake. As Scott has shared and Tony has shared, there's a decision coming. And if I knew then what I know now would happen, I would pay $10 million to be part of Tony Robbins' Platinum Partnership. And thankfully, I had somebody there with me. And that somebody was named Nicole. And she said, you can do this. She caused the better part of me to make the decision for light as opposed to step into the fear and darkness. And flag in the ground, that's the stand that I, Scott, Platinum Partnership is here to support you in making that decision. So again, before we drop in and talk about the things that have happened, I was somebody who played videos, had 10 people watch my videos. My daughters would roll their eyes and say, Dad, what are you doing? And now, there's 3 quick scenarios and examples that I'll share. Before that, though, I'll share one last thing. I'm here to pay a tiny debt. Not that he says it's a debt, but a debt that is unrepayable to Tony Robbins and the Platinum Partnership, this ecosystem, and all the amazing human beings. For what happened, yes, let's hear it for that, for what happened during this time, during my life over the last 3 years. So here goes. You need a tribe. You need partners. You need people to do business with. I owned one company 38 months ago. I now own 10. And I don't mean 10 companies I've invested in. I mean 9 service-related companies that we have outcomes that are set with my partners and people to all be 8-figure companies in 2022. Second, we launched an online show when the pandemic hit. Tony talks about winter is coming. A pandemic is winter. And and there could be more winter coming. And during that time frame, when all seemed lost, for my dream training and development company, we created an online show. That show has had 3,000, not views, not people who are fans, but people who've been on the show directly and through licensing. There is no possibility in the world that this uncool, blind, recently divorced attorney would have any shot at that without all of the incredible people I met through the Tony Robbins Platinum Partnership. In addition, I'm not even talking about 10x in the cash flow of my law firm and the fact that I was on a board with the most successful quantitative entrepreneur in history, Mr. Bill Gross, as even in the top 10 outcomes that Platinum Partnership has brought to my life and my family's life and the people I love and care about. Finally, during this pandemic, with all of this insanity, with a training and development company, in 10 months, we went from 0 in revenue with no funnels, no paid advertising, not a single ad run. It had $500,000 in sales in February, and we're over $500,000 in March already. Right. Okay. But most importantly, Tony talks about contribution. So I had the privilege of becoming a part of the American Foundation for the Blind. In fact, at this event, Kirk Adams, its president, is our guest. And when I say our guest, I don't mean mine, I mean directly mine, but all of Platt, all of this family ecosystem. Kirk and the AFB are standing for changing the rate of unemployment of the blind. For 70 years, this number has been at 75%. There's a Helen Keller documentary, there's fundraising that's happening. None of that, though, over this entire course of time, has done what's needed to be done. Kirk is standing for it, we're standing for it, and an example of what can happen for blind people who are a little bit cooler, perhaps, than most people would think, is this woman, Tiffany Armstrong, who came to work for the company. And when I hired her, I thought it was all about contribution. I thought it was about charity. And I'm embarrassed to say it. I underestimated her ability, but she had no business background, and she was really struggling and afraid. And she's become the #1 person at booking people on that show we talked about. She booked 19 people this past Wednesday to come on the show herself personally. Her life, yes, her life has changed. Her life is accelerating. Massive things are happening because that's what's caused here. The ripple effects that are created for your life in Platt. And please remember, these stories and the things Araceli shared, they may sound like unattainable. I had no business in this area. 0. Nothing. All of that's been created in a few short years because of Tony Robbins and Platinum Partnership. And finally, as we wrap this up together, we need more heart-centered warriors. We need people creating acceleration in the world. We need people who are at cause of making the world a greater place. There's all sorts of challenges, all sorts of negativity everywhere. But when you're with the people in Platt, which, by the way, my daughters no longer think that Tony's uncool. They did a little bit in the beginning. I thought it was a weird hippie cult. They now think that it's the greatest thing imaginable because they know, too, they can do anything. So it affects your money, it affects your family, it affects the contribution, the charity, all of the things that you do. And there's a choice to be made. And when I sat there, the darkness was screaming to me, don't do it. The fear was saying, don't do it. Of rejection, of failure, of those parts of our primal brain that keep us in survival and not thriving. On the other side of yes is the actualization of all the things you want. And the stopping hiding, the stopping wearing a mask, to step into your greatest life and the hero that is inside of you waiting to explode. So I want to thank Scott, I want to thank Tony, the entire ecosystem. And a quick PS, I don't think that this is a part of the program that they're offering currently, but I had a baby, a little girl, come out of Platinum with Mona and the person that I met through Platt.
That happens too, a lot.
That's not an offering I think that you guys are making. However, at the relationship trip, in case you don't know how that happens, Tony and Sage will explain it. So, from my heart to yours, immense gratitude for everything and for these minutes of listening. This is not a sales presentation. This is an opportunity to step into a future that you can't find anywhere else. My kids, I have 3 kids in college. All 3 of them talk to me and say, walking on fire, attending Business Mastery, listening to the programs is 100, 1,000, 10,000 times more valuable than what's happening in college.
Sean, can I just interrupt and ask you
Please,
one
yeah.
question? I love what you're sharing. And yes, I've been to lots of platinum weddings. I've been to see lots of platinum children get a bit born because it's one of the bonuses. Sometimes people hear these stories about what you've done and what Araceli's done, and they go, "Gosh, that's amazing," but I don't belong in that group. I'm not yet worthy of being in that group. I'm either not worthy financially, or I'm not big enough to be in that group yet. What do you say to someone who feels like they want to do it and they feel called to it, but that they feel somehow that they are not yet good enough or ready enough or big enough? What do you say to that person?
Yeah. Well, thank you, brother. I was coaching Little League. I was pitching batting practice blind. I came to the first event. I couldn't even execute a high five. We all feel that way. My videos, if you go online and watch them from 3 years ago, were so embarrassingly awful. It is incomprehensible. But this process unleashes what is inside of you, as Tony said. It unlocks it, it develops your skill, and it puts you into proximity with people who slowly over time up-level you. Not in like a weird way, like in a peak performance athletic circle. I grew up as an athlete. This is being around the top performers all over the place around you at all different stages of their rise in their mastery. You will be loved. People have patience. They will give you time. And whether it's a start or an end, all the way along the continuum, it's the right place.
Done. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, please give my brother Sean a big hand for helping out. Buddy, thank you so much. We love you. Great job, man. Thank you. Please thank Sean. Give it up for Sean. Sean Calgary. Come on. Yes. We've gone way over time, but I love to hear the stories. When I hear the stories about what Araceli's been doing the last 10 years and what Sean's been doing, it, not to go sideways, but for me to be at these events, I'm away from my family. Some of you know those stories. This is a 41-day trip for me. Helping people make the decision that you're about to make right now is important work. It changes lives. It doesn't just change your life, it changes the life of your children and your business and your family and your community. And whilst Platinum Partnership is a 1-year membership, many Platinums go on to stay for 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 years. But the impact, my friends, goes on to literally change the course of your life for the next 3 and 5 and 10 years. So